Hi everybody, today we're going to have a look at Apple CarPlay in the T7 California. So if you've got California or you've got a multivan, this is going to be exactly the same from here. And it's really, once you set it up, which we'll show you that in a minute, but once you set it up, it is very, very easy to do, because literally you get in your vehicle, press your start button, give it a few seconds, your dash is going to come on. So the last thing I was doing was had my maps on when I came here. So the first thing that comes back up is maps. It takes you back exactly to where you were previously. And then, as you can see, it takes up all of the screen, all the sides of the screen that's on it. So it's a really big display that's here. This is on Google Maps at the moment. You can press your little bit down here. Obviously, I'm using this on an Apple device. If you have an Android device, it works the same way. Obviously, your screen's going to look a little bit different. That's here. So on here, I've got a main screen, so what I'm playing, a bit of navigation, etc., where I want to go to, and then all my different icons. So you can hear your messages, for example. You can listen to those, the Volkswagen app, for example. Those are all in there. You can flick across. Anything else? Teams, for example. So you can listen to your Teams things through. Not the video, I hasten to add, but the Teams through. And obviously Google Maps, which I use Google Maps a lot. So there's lots of different things that you can access that's on there as well. Some work obviously with the system, some do not. But the main thing I use it for, obviously, is my Google Maps. Very, very easy to use. You know, you click search, you can do your different stations that's on here, you can put your maps in where you want to go. So, for example, we're in Liverpool today, so Liverpool's come up, you click on there, it tells you where to go. You probably know how all this works anyway, but as I said, it's very streamless. It gives you the size that it is on the screen. Everything is really easy to use. Telephone calls we can do on there. You can have a look at your diary if you want to have a look at your diary. We've got music, so we've got our normal Apple Music, or in my case, actually, as you can see, your favourites are on here, the ones that you use. I've got Amazon Prime Music, which I use a lot, that's in there as well, and obviously that just takes you through whatever you want to do from on there as well. Now, it's worth pointing out with Apple CarPlay that obviously it's using data from your phone. So when your phone's connected to the car, so for example, if you're in a low data area, so you're in the sticks somewhere, or you're traveling, for example, it's on there as well, as you're moving along. Your things that you're using, so your Google Maps, for example, or if you're listening to music and it's through your phone. And a good indication to that is usually it will tell you in the top corner what your signal strength is like. That's up here. If you're not on 5G or 4G, you are going to struggle probably with things like downloading music, etc., and things like that as well. So it's worth bearing that in mind. It's not necessarily saying that there's a problem with the car, because obviously you have to say it's tethered to your phone, and your phone is relying on that data. There are a few things you can do for that. So like Google Maps, for example, you can download sections of Google Maps that you want to your phone, so that then obviously if you do lose connection, you're still going to have that navigation system working there as well. So how do we set Apple CarPlay up? Well, the easiest and the quickest way to do it is to start with is just to plug it in. So if you're new to the vehicle, you can literally just plug your phone into it, for example, on there, and it will talk you through on the screen about setting Apple CarPlay up. And it will ask you whether you want to do it wirelessly, and the answer to that is yes. If you do it wirelessly, you don't need this connection that's on here. But I found the quickest way is to plug that in, because it's straight on your phone. You click a few buttons and it's all done. Obviously, you can search for it on the settings. It's in here. Now, alternatively, as you can see from on here, we've just got to mobile devices. This is what mine's called, 7071 is visible. So I can search for that under Wi-Fi, for example, and then I can log in to that, and then it will connect via Wi-Fi as well to do that. But as I said, if you plug it in here, and it'll ask you, do you want to do it by Wi-Fi, it'll automatically then do that, and it'll log that Wi-Fi one for you as well. In your mobile device as well, you can change that as well. So my VW, you can change that to something else, for example. So I could put Chris's Cali, for example, something like that that's in there. Obviously, there's two of you that have your phone connected to the vehicle, and you need to switch between them. You'd then have to go into network settings, mobile device, and you could switch between the two that's in there then as well. So you could click, for example, Amy's phone, and if it was available in the car, it would let me then click on that to change it between that. So as I said, when we were talking about data, Apple CarPlay is basically just letting your phone come onto the screen of your car. So everything that's on here, so if you download a new app, for example, it will automatically appear on here, because this is just mirroring basically what's on my phone. But obviously it has to have that, the app or whatever you're using has to have that CarPlay function that's in there to allow it to talk. And it's the same with Android. So Android Auto, for example, is the same thing. So that's Apple CarPlay, but in Android Auto, and that works just exactly the same. Now, last thing to do with Apple CarPlay is about updates, and that's two types of updates. We've got updates for your phone, we've got updates for the actual system itself. So the system itself, for example, you want to make sure that obviously you should see symbols like this that's on the actual display, and that's saying your privacy settings are all connected and you're connected to the internet. So if I press that, for example, now, that's in my privacy settings, and I'm on the maximum privacy setting, so that is going to allow communication back and forward from the car and with Volkswagen. And then on here as well, if you've got an update for this system, you'd have a note in here to tell you that it's got an update that's in there. I can have a look in here for app updates. No updates versions. Have a look at versions that's in there. So these are ones that have come out. I mean, you can see these are updated quite recently. It's in there, and these are all the different ones for different things that's in the vehicle, apps and services, etc. that's in there. And it's important, so if you get a little one coming up on the side here, or you're not primary user, or you're not logged into the vehicle, that's something you definitely need to do. Make sure you hit those, and when it says software update, click that yes button. That's a big thing, click that yes button. And it's the same thing with your phone. So if, for example, you have got a new update that goes into your phone and all of a sudden something doesn't seem quite working right that's on your Apple CarPlay, the chances are, probably 9 times out of 10, it's something to do with one of the updates that's happened on your phone. So I don't have any experience with Android Auto, but for Apple phone, for example, there are updates all the time for these, and those updates primarily are fixing things that they've found which is problems with it as well. So if, for example, you've updated the system on here and your phone's working on an old update, for example, it's on there, you sometimes can find there's a conflict between those. So what I tend to do is I tend to be on the latest update on my phone, and I've always got the latest update that's on the screen as well. The Apple CarPlay is also transfers onto your actual dash as well that's in here. So if I've got music on, for example, so we've got music on that's showing on here, and we've got exactly the same display on our center console. So it's showing me here, because this is how I have it on my display. So I've got my music, etc. that's on here, that's showing on here. And obviously you can control these via up and down buttons that does the same thing. If you want to change the track, for example, you can change the track up and down that's on here. Hope that all makes sense to you, how Apple CarPlay works. I know we've used it on an Apple iPhone to connect it, but as I said, it's the same on Android Auto. It does look a little bit different, Android Auto, but it works exactly the same, allowing you to use those different apps that's in there as well. So I hope that all makes sense. If you've got any questions or queries, pop them in the comments box below, and we'll add them to a Q&A session we'll be doing very shortly as well. And obviously hit that subscribe button if you've enjoyed today's video and you don't subscribe, and we'll see you next time.